All right. Thank you so much for joining me here today. My name's Carl Krenzel here on the Red Pill Investor podcast, as well as on Sell More Homes Now, my channel here on YouTube. Today, we're going to be going ahead and doing a lot of prospecting. This is courtesy of our good folks, good friends over there at the Red X. The Red X, you'll definitely want to go ahead and check them out if you have not done so already, because they are certainly good providers of information, certainly good providers of data, people, phone numbers, dialers, things that you need to go ahead and make the calls that you need to make. That's who we're using today. Also, if you're in search of scripts, may I suggest that you go to theredpillinvestor.com. You can go ahead and get a 59-page book filled with scripts, along with links to a download. Links to podcasts about actually how I use these scripts, so you can hear them live and hear me dissect exactly how and why you say certain things to certain people. It's only $10. It's a great way for you to go ahead and help support the podcast. I am a big fan of you when you do, and I am extremely grateful for all the people who have been contributing to the podcast and helping me share the word, helping me financially, of course, keep it up and running through your purchases of our books, as well as the premium podcast. And I'm very grateful to each and every one of you who's helped me support that. I want to go ahead and take a quick minute, however, to go ahead and give a special shout out, special thanks to Investor Rock, good folks who left a review for us here on iTunes. They said back here on May 8th, 2019, I'm sorry, it's taken me a while to get to see you there. It says, great information for investing agents. Investor Rock wrote down, great resource for investors and agents. Thanks so much for providing this information, and I look forward to hearing more. Well, listen, Investor Rock, I am very grateful for the fact that you listened to the podcast and that you took time out of your day to go ahead and leave a kind review on iTunes. So I'm very grateful for you taking the time out of your day to do that. And I am very grateful for everybody who's helped us get this project off the ground. So today, absolutely no exception, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and call especially a lot of for sale by owners. We're going to go ahead and definitely call for rent by owners. Absolutely going to call some pre-foreclosures for sale by owners, cancels and expireds. But I do want to go ahead and bring to your attention that when we do call these for rent by owners and the for sale by owners and even the pre-foreclosures, that it may be difficult for me to get through some of the news that I've got for us today. So if we don't get through all of it, I will certainly do my best to go ahead and give you the best information up front first, so that if we miss anything, you will be sure to be informed. So let's go ahead and begin today's prospecting session the way we always do, taking it to the Lord. Lord, thank you so much for this day. We are very grateful for all the gifts you've given us. We're grateful for this health that we have and the beautiful weather we have in our places. Lord, we're asking that you would go ahead and bless the work of our hands. Help us to go ahead and bring truth and resolution to the people who have not yet sold their home or are yet trying to. Help them understand that we're just only trying to help, Lord, and help my mouth to say the right things, that I won't be offensive, that I'll do nothing but bring glory to your name. In Jesus' name we ask, amen. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and get the phone in place. If this is the first time that you're joining us, what you're going to hear and or see, if you're watching me here on YouTube, what you're going to see is you're going to go ahead and see me going through the news with you. And then every now and again, you'll hear the phone pick up. And when the phone picks up, that's when we're going to go ahead and go into the Red Pill scripts as best we can and see what we can do about setting some appointments. Currently, we're calling some expired listings. It is my belief that you want to call all the brand new expired listings first. Those are the people you want to contact. And the reason why is very clear. It's because these people are the ones who are most likely to do something in the next 24, 48 hours. So if you're trying to get something done very quickly, those are your best opportunities. It's the brand new canceleds and the brand new expireds, because they're going to relist with somebody very soon. Now, along the way, as you noticed in the description, we're going to talk about a little bit of news today, and I'm going to give you a couple thoughts along the way. The first story for today is the U.S.
Hello.
Hey, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Good.
I'm not sure if I've got the right person. I apologize. I was actually looking for the owner of a home on Los Altos. Is that your property?
That's my mom.
Oh, okay, cool. Do you happen to know if your mom still got that property for sale, or if she sold it, or do you happen to know?
I think it's still for sale.
Okay, cool. All right, no problem. I've got a couple different numbers for her. Is hers the 520 or the 512 one? Has she got the area code out of state or the in-state one?
It's the 512 one.
Okay, cool. All right, no problem. Well, then I'll just give her a jingle a little bit later then. Okay, cool. Well, listen, I appreciate your time,
Okay, cool.
okay? Thank you.
Yep.
Have a great day. Bye-bye. All right. So that is the wrong number. Boom. All right. Delete that number. All right. Excuse me. So the National Association of Realtors oh boy, God bless the National Association of Realtors. I tell you, I'm very grateful for my association. I really am, but I have questions sometimes about the leadership and their decisions that they make. When they started selling data to third-party applications like Zillow and whatnot, I mean, a lot of agents didn't really care for that. And they felt as though, at the time, that the National Association of Realtors had sold realtors down the river. I remember a lot of realtors back in the day being absolutely furious with the National Association of Realtors for some of the choices that they had made with regards to our third-party information, our data from our listings. And I think rightfully so, people were upset. Sometimes I don't know that the National Association of Realtors makes decisions based upon its membership versus its own profitability. That's just simply my opinion, but it is what it is. So the news today says the National Association of Realtors invests in blockchain-based real estate firm Propy. Now, you might have heard us talk about this just a couple days ago because there was a Scottsdale firm that I believe we mentioned that was the third in the country. Oop, got a call coming in. It's got to put them on, can't talk to you right now here. I don't know how they got through, but bam, there we go. I'm not entirely sure. We talked about this a couple days ago with the National Association of Realtors, with a firm up in Scottsdale actually being able to go ahead and record a deal through blockchain. And we remarked at the time about how it was a very good thing, I think. I think we all would agree that things that you can do to help increase the security, decrease a fraud risk, increase the speed of a transaction, anything you can do like that is certainly, to me.
Hello.
Oh, hi. My name's Carl. How are you today?
I'm fine.
I'm not sure if I have the right person, so I apologize in advance. I'm actually looking for the owners of a property on Camino de la Noche. Is that your property, ma'am?
Oh, no, we sold it 3.5 years ago and someone else bought it.
God bless your heart.
And then they sold it.
Oh, gosh. You've probably been getting you've been getting all kinds of calls, haven't you?
Every few months.
Oh, God bless your heart. I'm so sorry.
We don't know. Yeah, we have no idea about. Yeah, we
no
have
problem.
No idea about the situation.
No problem. Well, listen. Since I got you here anyway, do you happen to know anybody who's got an unwanted home that I could buy for cash?
Actually, that house.
I've been trying to track him down. Okay.
That house has not been wanted. Otherwise, it wouldn't be on the market.
I know. Do you know anybody else, by the way?
Take a look at it. What?
I said, do you happen to know of anybody else besides them?
I don't.
No problem. No problem at all. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate your time and thank you for being a good sport today. Okay.
Okay.
You have a wonderful
good
day.
luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So let's see here. Wrong number. There we go. Okay. There we go. So, National Association of Realtors blockchain-based real estate firm Propy says that a major United States trade association, this is coming from Helen Parts over there at, thecointelegraph.com. Yeah, it's a blockchain. It's a type of news.
Hello.
Hi, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
I'm so sorry, not speak English.
Oh, mi nombre es Carl Krenzel de Sotheby's Realty. Estoy llamando para saber si usted está interesado en vender su casa. Hello? Okay, no problem. From cointelegraph.com, this is a news blog primarily about blockchain, e-technology, things of that nature. So their whole bent, if you will, is from this e-commerce, Bitcoin, blockchain. That's what they're all about. And so they're talking about this, and they're saying that the NAR strategic arm, Second Century Ventures, has invested an undisclosed amount in Ethereum, an Ethereum blockchain-based proxy startup Propy, as part of its commercial real estate technology accelerator Reach. So it turns out that this Reach program was the first commercial accelerator of its kind, aiming to bring together major technology disruptors in the real estate industry by selecting 10 startups to enter each year. By choosing Propy, Second Century Ventures intends to streamline its operations through blockchain technology in real estate transactions due to its immutable data storage, the firm's senior marketing and senior communications director, Ashley Stinton, said. Propy, founded in 2017, only 2 years ago. Get this. Propy is a global real estate transaction management platform for facilitating property transactions online. Back in 2017, the company raised about $14 million in an initial coin offering through its own utility token pro that's designed to bolster a self-sustaining ecosystem tracking global real estate ownership. Oh boy. Specifically, Propy eliminates the need for a third party in real estate transactions, providing an additional level of security and transparency in the market. The NAR is reportedly the largest trade association in the United States, representing 1.3 million members. Last year, a pilot program in the state of Vermont reportedly completed, the first entirely blockchain-based real estate transaction in the United States in collaboration with Propy. Earlier in May, the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance described a set of blockchain use cases in the real estate industry in a report claiming that blockchain tech could potentially shorten the process of recording and transferring property. So what does this mean for you and I? Okay, well, I think in short, what this is starting to indicate, many of you may not remember what it was like in real estate prior to the internet. I know I'm giving away my age, right? But there was, believe it or not, there was a time in real estate when you could not go online and look up a property. You couldn't go on your smartphone or on your desktop or a computer at the library. You couldn't look at properties online. If you wanted to find out about a property, how many bedrooms, how many baths, how much it was for sale for, the square footage, you could not even go online and look in the Zillows of the world or tax records. No, what you had to do is you had to physically get on a telephone and you had to call a real estate agent, or you had to stop by a real estate agent's office and you had to ask them about the property. And what they would do is they would go ahead and they'd look up in their real estate book, right? It used to look like a Sears catalog, and many of you are probably too young to remember that too. Sears, a company that used to exist, had a catalog that they would put out every year, and it would be about this thick. It would tell you all the things they would sell, and you could actually order them, and they would mail them to you. You get them in the UPS back in those days. And ironically enough, the way that we sold real estate even 20 years ago, 23 years ago, was just like that. It was in a book. You looked at the price, you talked to the other people, and you moved on. And that was it. And then at one point, the National Association of Realtors decided to go ahead and start looking at this internet thing. You know, AOL was really big at that time, because what they would do is they would go ahead and put out discs in a supermarket. You might even remember that, right? The little discs that you would put in your computer at home, right? And you'd hear that thing or whatever, and then you'd be able to look online. And the internet at that time was very, very gestational. People didn't. There were even, believe it or not, there were even people who thought at that time that web pages, that's just a billboard in the internet highway. That's not ever going to amount to much. This whole internet thing is just a flash in the pan. I remember people saying that. Primarily, it was the older agents who were saying that. And I remember older agents 50s, 60s, 70 years old. Well, maybe not 70, because by that time they really weren't in it. But 50, 60 years old at that time, remarking how the computer systems and things were just too complicated, and it was just not the same. And many realtors got out of the business at that time. And I also remember many people being very angry with the National Association of Realtors for selling data and for giving up the rights to our data and allowing people to profit from us. 23 years later, the National Association of Realtors strategic investment arm, Second Century Ventures, has invested an undisclosed amount in Ethereum blockchain-based startup Propy as part of its commercial real estate technology accelerator Reach. And I can see how a lot of people could see similarities from the way things used to be 20 years ago until the way things are today, where you see the National Association of Realtors starting to invest in a little-known technology that has the potentiality of changing everything we know about the way real estate is practiced. I mean, if you've been around the block for a while, you can remember, I mean, there were times, believe it or not, where it would take up to 6 weeks for a VA loan to close. 45 days or more, because you'd have to get the service member, they'd have to write a letter to the VA at a particular place in the country and request a DD-214, their proof of being in the service and that they're honorably separated, so they could qualify for a VA loan. And that in and of itself would take a couple weeks, because the VA would have to look into the thing and then make a copy of it and mail it back to you. And it would have to take some time to go through the mail. And anything you could do to speed the process up would help ensure the fact that your deal would close, and it would close within a reasonable period of time. And the reason why you want this to happen is because you know just as good as I do that anytime you put any amount of time between the time somebody agrees to a contract to the time they close. Anything and everything can happen. How many times has your deal been killed, okay, prior to closing because of some dumb thing that popped up in the way? I mean, I can't tell you how many times. And if you could shorten the period of time that it took for somebody to say, you know what, I like your house, I'm willing to give you money for that. And the person says, well, you know what, if you've got a particular amount of money, I'll sell it to you. And then they go down to some particular place. They sign into a computer somewhere, press a couple buttons, and the next thing you know, bam, they're a new homeowner. And the other person, bam, they got their cash in their account. Isn't that what we really want in a real estate transaction? Now, I know that right now, some of you are listening to this podcast on the redpillinvestor.com, or you're watching it here on YouTube, rather it be now or later on, and you're watching this and you're saying to yourself, gosh, this whole blockchain thing, I don't know. I mean, what if this and what if that and all the what ifs going around in your head about whether or not you're going to have a place in the world? I'm here to tell you, you have a place in the real estate world. You have a service to provide. You have customers that you can help. The only thing that stops you is what goes on between your ears. You tend to be your own worst enemy. But if you look at this from your customer's perspective, I mean, I've been a customer of a title company. Okay, not throwing names out. I'm not going to toss anybody under any buses here. But honest to God, have you been in this year, or maybe even last year, or maybe this month, I don't know, but have you recently been involved in a real estate transaction where somebody screwed up and it delayed the closing? Now, as a realtor, you can get very, very frustrated with a title company who fails to close or fails to close your transaction on time. But if you're a property owner counting on that money because you need to move into something else and the title company's screwing up, or the closing is getting delayed because of people, well, that's a problem. And anything you and I can do as practitioners to eliminate this problem is helpful to our end-use customer. It's helpful to our business. I mean, if you want to truly be a service provider, if you want to be a provider of service to your customer, then you have to accept the honest reality that these technologies can start to speed the process up. And by speeding this process up, it eliminates the errors and it will make your customer happy. The biggest problem that we have many times is ourselves. We think we're going to get chucked out of the system and we're going to get middlemen away. And if honestly, if your entire business model is like the realtor of 20 years ago who is holding on to your real estate book because you don't want to let people look at your homes and you don't want people to see on the internets what things like, no, then yeah, you deserve to get chopped aside. The Bible said the axe is laid to the root of the tree, and anybody that doesn't bear good fruit is about to get chopped and tossed into the fire. And that is what's going to happen to your business. That's honest to God what's going to happen. If you fail to keep up with the times and you fail to go ahead and demonstrate that you have good fruit as a business, you're going to get chopped down and thrown into the fire. Why? Because you have no value. If your whole value proposition to the real estate transaction is that you have information that nobody else knows, then somebody's going to find it out eventually. And when they do, what use do they have of you? You're like an old Sears catalog. We just toss you away. There's no need to keep you around anymore. In the book that I'm writing, Wholesaling for Realtors, I'm really describing an entirely different path for realtors to take. You know, for realtors who are planning on investing, for realtors who are planning on using investment as part of their investment strategy, wholesaling is a big part of that. And you, in my opinion, need to be aware of some fundamental changes that are happening in our business. One of those fundamental changes is blockchain. Another fundamental change is the investment pace itself and the way people are investing. You know, looking at your business, as I said, with the end in mind, holistically speaking, so you can decide what's best for you and your customer, even when the market falls apart. Those are the things you need to consider. What's going to make you valuable in the market to come? What's going to make you worthwhile? Why,
Bill Coatsworth, please leave your name.
why should anybody talk to you? Why should anybody call you? Why should anybody use you in the market to come if they can just press a couple buttons and close a deal? Well, let's see. I'll tell you. You can analyze transactions, analyze the market. You know what things mean. You know, if you could provide analysis and context, that has far more value than bedroom and bathroom count. All right, so we've already called through all the expires. We've called through all of the canceleds. So now let's go ahead and jump into some new stuff, some for rent by owners. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I have not called these for rent by owners. So I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. As a matter of fact, it could be an absolute train wreck. This could go 100% wrong. And if it does, well, then you'll get to sit here and enjoy it. So let's go ahead and start calling some of these for rent by owners. All right, here we go. Now, in case you're following along on YouTube on Sell More Homes Now, or even if you're listening to the redpillinvestor.com and you're hearing it on the podcast, you may want to check out the Red Pill Investor Scripts version 6.0. We're going through for rent by owners. If you don't have a script for rent by owner, you'll definitely want to start trying to use one. For rent by owners are a little bit different, and their problems are a little different. So we've got 85 phone numbers to call, and let's see what happens. Here we go. We're going to press start. All right. Now, I'm not going to make any promises, but let's see what happens. So I don't know how often these people are going to pick up. So it may be that we may not necessarily get through.
This is Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Good.
Hey, I'm calling about that house that's for rent. Are you the owner?
I am, but it's already been rented.
Oh, okay, cool. No problem then. Well, I guess I'm a day late and $1 short. No worries. Listen, I'm a broker here in town who buys property. Do you know anybody who's got an unwanted property that I could buy for cash?
No, I don't.
Okay, cool. Well, listen, Jeff, I appreciate your time and I hope you have a great day. Make sure you stay out of that heat today, okay?
All right.
All right, brother.
Good luck on your hunt.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. Right. Sold. Okay. All right. Next. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's see. The next for rent by owner. And now these, by the way, these for rent by owners are coming to us from the Red X. I've got.
Hello, this is Emily.
Hi, Emily. This is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
I'm not sure if I got the right place. I was calling about that house that was for rent. Are you the owner?
I am. It's not available and we're not interested in selling.
Oh, okay, no problem. Well, listen, since I got you anyway, do you know anybody else who's got an unwanted home that I could buy for cash?
No, I don't.
Okay, great. Well, listen, I appreciate your time and you have a great day, okay?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay. Some of these numbers, as I mentioned, from the Red X. They're going to be good numbers, but they're in this particular case, they're a little too old. I just got these numbers loaded in. So many of these are from as much as 30 days ago. And so, of course, many of these people may already be rented. This particular person,
Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Carl. Okay. Now, I always tend to let things ring 3 times. And then, if there's an opportunity to leave a message, great. But if not, then fine. I'm not going to worry too much about it. But I think 3 times is plenty for them to pick up the phone. So while we're dialing this, I'm going to put the...
Hello, it's Craig.
Hey, Craig, Carl Krenzel, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Man, I'm better than I deserve. Thanks. I'm not sure if I have the right person. I apologize. I was calling about the house that was for rent. Are you the owner?
Oh, yes, I am. Which home is it? Is it going on Bellevue?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Yes, I am.
Okay.
It's actually 2 duplexes facing each other. I just bought it about a month ago.
Okay.
And I actually am moving into the 1 unit across the way.
Okay.
And then the 1 unit is for rent coming up July 1st.
Right on. Right on. Well, good for you. That sounds like a good buy. Actually, that's why I was calling you, as I was seeing if maybe if you were interested in selling it to me. You just bought it last year?
Possibly. Yeah, what happened was it's actually somebody I knew.
Uh-huh.
And he's an older gentleman and has some medical issues. So I purchased it from him. He hadn't really, rents were like $400
Sure.
a month, which was pretty sad. So I went ahead and we're redoing them all, and market rents are between $7 and $7.50. So I've raised all the rents basically.
Good for you.
So yeah, I love it. Totally love it here. I would consider selling, but to be totally honest, this is kind of where I buy and sell and fix up homes and stuff.
Yep, me too.
So this is kind of be my base of operation, per se.
I'm with you, brother.
Live in them all.
I am totally with you.
And I'm sick of that news. So that's kind of a scoop.
No, I appreciate your honesty, Craig. Okay, no problem. And that's no problem. I appreciate your honesty. Now, that's a very good property right there. I'm looking right at it. It's a nice little spot. So I'm sure you're going to be able to make plenty of money on that. All right. Well, Craig, thank you so much for taking.
Never sell, but
no problem.
Sure.
Thanks for taking my call.
Hear of something. Sure, no problem. Thanks for calling.
No problem. Have a great day.
All
Bye-bye.
Right. You too. Bye-bye.
So one of the things that that you want to consider when you hear something like this, okay, understand that what he said right there happens more than I care to say. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard people tell me this. They're talking to somebody that they know and they're older and they've just had this property around for years. They've never done anything with it. It's been renting out for $400 a month or whatever it is.
Hello?
Hi, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
What are you calling from?
Well, I was calling about the house for rent. Is this the owner?
Oh, it's been rented a long time ago.
Oh, it was? Oh, okay, no problem. Well, listen.
Yeah, the rent should have come down. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Don't even worry about it. Hey, since I got you anyway, do you know anybody who's got an unwanted home? Unwanted home I could buy?
I don't. Sorry.
All right. Have a great day.
No, bye.
Bye-bye. Sometimes I think people, even if you were trying to give them $1 million, would hang up on you. I think one of these days what I'm going to do, if I ever win $1 million, billion, let's say, or 2 billion or whatever it was, a lot of money. I think what I would do is I would call people up. This is the fantasy I have in my head. I would call people up and tell them I'm going to give them $1 million and just see if I could give away $1 million. And I almost bet you that nobody would take it. I can't say that I would blame him. I wouldn't either. I wouldn't believe anybody who told me that they were going to give me $1 million if they called me on the phone either. So I wouldn't believe it either. All right. So let's move on. The 6 questions, while this phone is ringing on these for rent by owners, the 6 questions real estate team leaders should ask their brokerage firms.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 520-4.
Not that one. Okay, move on. There we go. Let's see. 6 questions that real estate team leaders should ask their brokerage firms. This is from Tamir Poleg. He is writing over there at Forbes, from Forbes magazine. Poleg is he's a fellow who is the co-founder and CEO of Real, which is a national real estate brokerage in 25 states. So he's certainly been around a while. He knows a little bit about what he's talking about here. And his advice, let's go ahead and see what his advice is. He says, listen, you've built your reputation, you're driving leads, and you're growing a real estate team to increase sales more rapidly and serve your clients better. Now, as a real estate team leader, it's important to make sure your brokerage has a tech-forward approach in line with where the industry is headed and where you're able to keep as much commission as possible for your team. Now, he's going to point out 6 questions that you need to ask your brokerage. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a couple thoughts to this, because if you're a real estate broker or a real estate agent who is investing or beginning to invest, there's a couple questions you need to know, because these questions are all important. Commission issues are important. Technology is important. But when it comes to your wholesaling activity, when it comes to your investing activity, when it comes to you personally buying property and the methods and the forms and the financing that you use, you want to make sure your brokerage is on pace with that, because if they're not, that could be a... Hello? 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 So, hang on just a second. No answer. There we go. There we go. Yeah, because if you don't get if you don't get these issues correct, if you don't get these issues squared away before you join your brokerage, there can be a lot of uncomfortable moments between you and your broker at the time you get your assignment or your wholesale or your. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hi there. This is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Doing okay. How are you?
Man, I'm better than I deserve. Thanks. I was calling about that property that was for rent. Is this the owner?
It is. The property, it's no longer vacant.
Oh, okay. You already rented it out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no worries. Well, listen, since I got you here anyway, I'm a broker who buys property. Do you know anybody here in town who's got an unwanted home I could buy for cash?
Actually, I do. His name is John DePato,
Okay.
and he's trying to get rid of his property.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So I don't know if he's speaking to any sellers or anything yet. Do you want contact information?
Yeah, if you don't mind, let me go ahead and get my pen ready here. All right. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, sir. Uh-huh. It's okay. Yeah, it's probably buried in your phone somewhere. Okay, you've got my number right there on your phone, right? You got caller ID? Yeah. Yeah, it's Carl. Uh-huh. Yeah, no problem. My phone number is, or my name is Carl, Karl.
Okay.
and I'm a broker here at Sotheby's, but I buy property on my own. And if he's got an unwanted property he's looking to sell, then I would definitely be interested in talking to him about it. And the number right there on your caller ID is my cell phone directly.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Hey, no
Yeah.
problem. I appreciate your help. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Take
All
care.
right. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Maybe.
All right. So now that particular fellow turns out he
Your call has been forwarded
actually
to an
knows
automatic
somebody, but he
voice
doesn't
message
apparently have the
system.
the fellow's number right there handy. But he works with him, and so he's going to talk with him a little bit later today and see what happens. You know, look, you've heard me for days, and days, hours and hours, countless times, sit there and say, hey, by the way, do you happen to know of anybody who's got an unwanted property that they're looking to sell for cash? You've heard me say this over and over and over again, and that is exactly why. Because every now and again, you're going to find that guy who does actually know somebody. And believe it or not, they do actually call. And when they do, whoo, boy, that's a good call to have, let me tell you. All right, so let's get with these 6 questions that Mr. Tamir Poleg, from the CEO of Real, has to say about the questions you need to ask a brokerage when you're deciding to join. First, do you provide branding freedom? Branding freedom. Now, what does that mean? What do you mean by branding freedom? Well, look, in some companies, okay, if you're in a real estate company that is a little bit more conservative, they're going to have some issues with you going out willy-nilly, branding your name, branding your sign, making your sign all kind of funny ways, right? So for example, I work at Sotheby's, and Sotheby's is a wonderful company, but they are a little bit more conservative, and they prefer to have your signs a particular way, right? Whereas when I was with Realty Executives, they're not quite as conservative. It's still a good firm, don't get me wrong. Hello?
Hi, this is Keith. Sorry I missed you, but please leave your name and telephone number.
Still a good firm, don't get me wrong, but they're a little bit more liberal in their approach, a little bit more liberal in what you can do. And so what will happen many times in a type of company that's a little bit more liberal, you're able to build your own brand, build your own logo, colors, images, text. You can have particular fonts. I mean, all so long as it all falls within the Department of Real Estate's regulations. But other than that, you can kind of.
Hello.
Hey, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Who's calling?
No problem. My name is Carl Krenzel. I was actually calling about that house that was for rent a while back. Is this the owner?
Yes, it is, but I'm not sure which house you're referring to.
Oh, I apologize. Yes, sir. The one over there on Marshall Gulch.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Is that property still for rent, or is it available?
Well, it depends. It's I'm not sure which one. There are actually 2.
Oh.
One of them is full. The other one is full as of July 15th.
Oh, okay.
Are you looking for a longer term rental or a short term?
Yeah, no problem. Well, actually, the reason why I called, I'm a broker here in town who buys property. I was just calling to see if you'd considered selling that place instead of renting it. Have you?
No, we're not sellers, but I appreciate very much.
No problem. Well, listen, since I got you anyway, do you happen to know of anybody who's got an unwanted property that I could buy for cash?
I am not aware, and I know there's a lot of people. I probably get a phone call a day.
I bet you do.
Asking whether I would sell something. So I just tell
I bet you do.
There must be some kind of a seminar out there because half the people use exactly the same words.
Well, I'll tell you. Actually, the reason why I'm calling, I've done this 23 years myself. The reason why that people are calling is, frankly, there's just no inventory on the market whatsoever. I mean, I don't know. How kind of a close of an eye you keep on the market. But as far as the MLS goes, we're pretty much at I want to say a 2.5-year low of inventory. So yeah, I'm not surprised you're getting calls. So, okay, well listen.
It's just down to 0. I mean, and I'm aware that I've been a
production builder for many years.
Oh yeah, okay,
I'm
then
a
yeah.
land developer now, so I watch these numbers.
Yeah,
really
then you know,
closely. Yeah, it's interesting how it's evolved. And it wasn't 6-7 years ago. You had people unloading properties all over the place. And
Mhm.
that's kind of we really gone through. It's been a huge swing.
I agree 100%. I'm curious if you've got just 2 seconds. I'd be curious, since you're sort of a production builder and you've been in the business a while. I've been in it 23 years myself. What's your opinion of the market currently? What do you feel is going to be happening in the next, 18 months? If you had to look in a crystal ball, what do you think?
Well, if we were talking about Tucson,
Yes, sir, or in general, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing on the horizon that would interrupt Tucson's fairly steady growth. And we have new employer announcements, some of which are known and a few that are not.
Right.
I happen to be in a position where I'm aware of them.
Okay.
That we just have a lot of good news coming down the pike. And the result of that is going to be a continued absorption rate of north of 3,000 new homes a year.
Okay.
And if you add the fact that new homes are quite a bit more expensive than existing properties, the pressure on the inventory is going to maintain, especially any inventory priced under 400,000. And, so the cost structure is increasing rather dramatically. It's just going to be harder and harder to bring that kind of product to market. So the stuff that's out there that's resale is going to be precious. And the rental market will continue because there's plenty of people that, they don't really have a purchase opportunity, and so they need to be renters.
Yes, sir. I'd agree with that 100%. And as far as nationally, what are your feelings? I mean, that's a really good analysis, and I agree 100% with you as far as Tucson is concerned. What's your analysis as far as nationally speaking? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, you get prejudiced when you start talking nationally.
That's okay.
Pleased with our current administration and not very pleased with the people trying to derail it.
Okay.
Because the economic benefits have been so great.
I'd agree.
If Trump's able to put something together with China and
let's hope
resolve the border crisis through effective management with Mexico, that's going to put the United States in a very strong position to rebuild its center or middle income basis of all those jobs that we lost. We're not going to get them all back, but we're making a dent in that and moving some companies back. And that really speaks well for our national agenda.
Yes, sir.
And, we'll see whether that gets derailed. It's curious the number of people that seem to want to destroy that effort in any way they can in order to get their party in place.
It's satanic as far as I'm concerned.
So as long as we don't end up with the crazies in charge, we're probably going to be in pretty good shape.
Outstanding.
And when I say pretty good shape, what are the elements that you and I need? Low interest rates. Okay.
Yes, sir.
If the interest rates are retained and stay low, that's going to keep the housing market moving exactly where we need it, as good as it's going to be. And if we don't step into strong inflation, which so far we haven't, we have a balanced economy and lots of benefits that flow back, and especially to those who hold assets.
Well, I got to tell you, thank you very much. Is this Chris? Mr. Schaefer?
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I appreciate your help and I really appreciate your commentary, and I agree with you 100%. And it's good actually to hear somebody like yourself, as educated as you are on the market, kind of share your thoughts with me, because I'm 23 years into this myself and I only talk to realtors. You know how it is.
You're a pro.
Well, I've got to be honest with you. The thing that I'm very encouraged by is the markets have gotten, the interest rates are down to 3.82% with a half point on the origination fee. That's nationwide kind of your average, and that's incredibly low. I mean, you obviously remember when the interest rates were 13, 14%. I also think...
I remember when they were 19 and 20.
That's before my time.
In charge of the Fed.
Oh my gosh, that's before my time. The other thing I tend to think, at least as far as Tucson is concerned, I agree 100% with you. With the new plant coming in down south with Amazon down there, all the construction they got going on throughout the city, we've just got a very low amount of inventory. We have a lot of new construction building to meet that need. And I agree with you. People who are in a rental type of market have to rent because many times they're just unable to buy because of loan to debt income or whatever. So nationally speaking, I agree with you 150%. I tend to think, again, regardless of politics, Trump and his administration, his policies have really managed to turn this economy around. And quite honestly, I agree with you. China has been pushing the United States around for far too long. And if he's able to stabilize this and have Mexico being, especially here in Arizona, if he can have Mexico act as a way to control this unfettered immigration, I think that's going to be beneficial to our country. It's going to raise people's ability to make income for a citizen. They're going to have more higher paying jobs that they can pay, and then they're going to be able to buy more homes. And I think ultimately that's going to help our economy. So I'm 100% with you on that one. So, all right. Well, listen,
we'll see what happens.
We will pray together on that one. It sounds like you're a praying man. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Well, sir,
that's my first priority.
Well, sir, I'm going to be with you. You know how Jesus said, as long as two of us agree, then then he's going to be with us. So I'm going to just pray with you on that one, and we'll pray for our country. Fair enough?
Yeah. I appreciate the comment, and good luck to you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. You have a wonderful day, and please stay out of this heat. It's going to be a scorcher today.
Yeah, I know. And thank you, Carl. I'm going to be in the shade all day.
Yes, sir. You take care. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Now, see, it's important in my mind, okay, to hear from your customer. It's important to listen to the consumer on the ground, because you never really know what kind of perspective they're going to have, politics aside, Trump aside, all this other. Look, I don't want Trump to be a stumbling block between you and me, okay? I don't care what you think about Trump. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hi. My name's Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Okay.
I'm not sure if I have the right person. I was calling about that house that was for rent. Is this the owner?
Yes, but it is no longer.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I've been calling a little bit too late, I think. So no worries. Well, I'm a broker who was here in town. I was calling to see if you folks had even considered just selling that property. Have you?
Maybe 2 years.
Okay, no worries. Well, hey, since I got you anyway, do you know anybody who's got an unwanted home that I could buy for cash?
I wish I did.
No problem. All right. Well, listen, brother, I appreciate your time and your honesty. You have a great day.
Really good.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. All right. So, yeah, I mean, I don't want Trump to become a stumbling block between
Please
us.
state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Carl Krenzel. Yeah, I just think that we as Americans need to be concerned about our economy, regardless of who's a president. We just need to be, as he said, low interest rates. We've got to have people with high-paying jobs, low interest rates, so they can go ahead and afford to buy property, whether it be for an investment property on their own, or whether it be a property for themselves. You've got to have people who have the ability to buy a property. And if they can't buy property, then you as a realtor, it doesn't matter who's the president. If they can't buy a property, who cares is in office? They have to be able to buy property. All right, so back to the questions. Branding freedom, yeah? All obviously staying compliant with your state real estate advertising rules, but some companies, they're going to be particularly conservative, and others are going to be particularly liberal when it comes to your branding freedom. And if you're on a team and you're trying to figure out, should you join that?
You have reached the voicemail box.
Should you join that team or this company or that company? Then you probably ought to know that. Second question a team leader needs to ask a company: what are your team splits and cap? What's your team splits and your cap? Now, If you're going to compensate your team members with a commission split, then you're going to need a high split on your gross commission from your brokerage as possible. Meaning that if your brokerage is giving you, let's say, an 80% split, right? Then the people underneath you are going to need to get paid from that kind of thing, or their pay is going to be relative to that, right? So you need to get a highest split on a gross commission from your brokerage as possible. Given the volume that you're likely to generate, a reasonable annual cap makes sense as well.
Hello?
Hey, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
This is who?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Carl Krenzel. I was calling about the house that was for rent. Is this the owner?
Oh, yes, it's been rented.
Oh, okay, gosh. All right, no worries. Well, hey, since I've got you here anyway, I'm a broker who buys houses as well. Do you know anybody who's got
no,
a,
thank you.
do you know
No,
anybody
thank
who's got an unwanted home I could buy?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, cool. No problem. Well, listen, Charlie, I hope you have a great
All right.
day.
You too, Carl.
Thanks,
Thank
brother.
you.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
So you heard him right there sort of get kind of, as soon as I said, well, I'm a broker who buys houses, you heard him say, well, blah, 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 blah. Don't even worry about it. Just keep pushing forward, right? Keep pushing and say, hey, no problem. Do you know anybody who I want to buy, right? Just make sure you get that out as quickly as possible, because then you'll see how they'll kind of, oh, okay. And the defenses will come down, yeah? Team splits and cap. Back to team splits.
Hi, this is Jessie. Sorry I missed your call. Please leave me a message and I'll get back to you.
Back to the team splits and cap. If you're at 100% brokerage, make sure the fees don't add up to more than a team split would. So we're really talking about a couple things. We're talking about an annual cap, and we're talking about your split. Okay? So what's the difference? Okay, let's pretend that you're listening to this podcast or you're watching this on iTunes. I'm sorry, on YouTube, and you're not really familiar with brokerage, and you're not really sure how owners and brokers and agents work. Well, okay. If you're an agent working in a brokerage house, many times you're on a straight split. Okay, you might be on a 80-20 split where your company gets 20%. You might be on a 60-40 split where your company keeps 40%. Whatever that split is. And if you have a team, then there's a couple different issues you need to be aware of. First, what's your split to begin with? Because if your split is too low, it's going to be difficult for you to pay people under you as a team member. Also, if your splits are too low, let's say, then over time, those splits, let's say you're on a 60-40 split, that 40%, you do a bunch of transactions, that 40% could add up to quite a bit of money. And many times your brokerage will go ahead and put a cap on what you need to pay them.
You've reached Scott. I'm unavailable.
So for example, to give you some perspective, some brokerages here in Tucson have a cap of anywhere from $16,000 to $19,000, meaning that once you've paid their company $16,000, $18,000, $19,000, whatever that amount is, then boom, you're on 100% split for the rest of your contract. Now, contracts are only for a year.
You have reached.
Typically, what happens is you will go ahead and you will go ahead and do, let's say January 1st is your beginning of your contract. You'll do, hello? Stacy?
Hello?
Oh, hi.
Yes.
Hi, Stacy. Carl Krenzel. How are you?
Hi, who is it?
Yeah, no problem. My name's Carl Krenzel. You don't know me. I'm actually a broker here in town. I was calling about that house you have on Prospect Vista Way that was for rent. Are you the owner of that property?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, is that still for
And we've
rent?
already got a renter.
Oh, you did? Okay,
No,
all
I
right.
got a renter already. Uh-huh.
Okay, no problem. Hey, since I got you anyway, do you know anybody who's got an unwanted property that I could buy for cash?
No, that sounds like a good deal.
I know, right? Okay, cool. Well, listen, I appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful day, okay?
You too. Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, as I suspected, many of these for rent by owners are a little bit older, and I'm just going to have to manually go through some of them, and they're going to be rented out, and that's okay. Because from here on out, each day they're just going to get better because, as I mentioned yesterday, I talked to the folks up.
Hello, you've reached Mike Sutton with Serena Group. Sorry I missed your call. If you could, please leave your name and number, and I'll get.
Let's see here. Get rid of that. There we go. What was I saying? Oh yes. The data is going to get only better because I mentioned to the Red X folks
You've reached the voicemail about
that things we needed to adjust
Please state your name after the tone.
and change, and then we would go ahead and get that changed. So from here on out, it's only going to get better. By the way, every time you hear that it goes ding and then there's a voicemail going on. Hey, this is Carl Krenzel. Hi, my name's Carl. How are you?
Good. Who's this?
My name is Carl. I was calling about that house that was for rent. Are you the owner?
Yeah, it's not for rent anymore though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I figured I might be calling a little too
took it
late.
off
No worries.
Yeah, I took it off all of the websites.
Okay, no worries. Well, since I got you here anyway, I'm a broker who buys property. Do you know anybody who's got an unwanted home that I could buy for cash?
Don't.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, it's kind of an odd question anyway. If you don't mind me asking, did y'all just rent that property out on Sampras? What's that?
I just rented it out. I just rented it out to some other people.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, awesome. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking my call, and I hope you have a great day, okay?
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, boom. So back to the cap. Sometimes if you're at 100% brokerage, right? We were talking about how if you were at January 1st, you do all these transactions and that 40% split over a while is going to add up to a particular amount. When it adds to the particular amount, let's say it's 18,000, then from 60%, you jump up to 100% and you're on 100% until back to January 1st when you start your contract all over again. And then maybe you might be at a different split. Another brokerage, their policy might be that you're on straight 100%, and you just pay 100%. You get 100% of your commissions, but it's like a barbershop. You've got to pay to rent the space that you're in. So you want to think about these things when you're trying to decide what company you're going to. What's their team splits going to be like? What's the split? What's the cap rate? I mean, what's the cap on the commission? Hi, my name's Carl Krenzel. How are you?
Good. How can I help you?
Yes, sir. I was looking about that house for rent. Is this the owner?
What's the address?
Oh, yes, sir. It was the one over there on Goshawk. It's probably been rented out. It's been a while. Is that place still available, or?
Yeah, it's been rented. If you want to get updates, our website is deedtrader.com.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, will do. All right. Thank you, brother.
Have a good day.
Have a great day. Bye-bye. So I'm going to delete that dude. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of that company. They've had a number of issues with the law enforcement people. So I'm not so crazy about them. Okay. Third question that Mr. Toleg says that people need to be concerned about: what technology do you offer, and at what cost? That is an important question. Well, you can buy your own tools, but incremental costs add up. Things like the Red X, things like your multiple listing service, things like all these other things that you've got associated with your fees, that can add up after a bit. So you want to start thinking to yourself, well, gosh, what are some of the tools that your company provides that you could use in your business? At the minimum, okay, you need to have some kind of CRM, some kind of customer relationship management company or system so you can track and nurture your leads.
The call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
The one thing that you want to be aware of is that if your CRM, your customer relationship management program is related to that company, if you use all of your data, you put all of your names, all your numbers in that CRM, then that's essentially like golden handcuffs. They keep you tied to that company. So you want to be very careful of putting all of your ducks in one place. You want to be very careful about using one phone number that their company provides that you put on all your signs and everything like that, because then that ties you to the company, right? You want to be very aware of that. Third, what technology? Oh, no, we already said, do you offer and what cost? They said a couple different suggestions. Chime CRM and the website. That's one. Dot Loop transaction management. Perhaps Google Suite software. Cloud CMA comparative market analysis like Toolkit, perhaps. That's one that Sotheby's provides. It's a good one. Slack office chat. I'm not a big Slack office chat kind of guy, but you need to have some sort of ability to contact your broker with questions. You need to be able to contact your transaction management people for any questions or file reviews that you might need. Broker signatures, commission payments. You want to have people that you can physically go to that need to get things done. And here's why I say physically. There's a big thing going around amongst real estate agents about having their real estate business run in the cloud. They work out of their homes. Everything's done in the cloud. Their broker is in another city. They might even have an office with one person assigned to it. Call me old-fashioned. A lot of people tend to think that when you have no broker, no management, no office, that it's the best thing possible. And I'm here to tell you that that's not always the case.
Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Carl Krenzel. One of the things that you want to consider is that it's true, you might be a very responsible person. Okay, you might be the kind of guy or gal, the practitioner that does everything right. You turn in all your paperwork, you never miss a thing, you never miss a signature, you never miss a dot or an I, never even miss a piece of paper. But not everybody in your company is going to be like that. And they tend to look for people who are not all that diligent about keeping up on their company. If you've got a designated broker or somebody who's, kind of acting like a designated broker and they're not being paid that much and they're just kind of here to look around and make sure things, that's not a good situation for you to have, because you could lose your license very quickly, or maybe your license could be suspended very quickly. If your broker has a lackadaisical approach at things and they lose their license, or somehow they forget to get things done.
Hello.
Hey, Robert, this is Carl Krenzel. How are you?
Who is this?
Oh, my name is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Oh, fine, thank you.
I'm calling about that property you had for rent over there on 12th. Is that still available, or did you? It is? Okay, I figured it was. No problem.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a broker here in town. I was calling. Do you happen to know of anybody who's got an unwanted home that I could buy for cash?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem, brother. Well, listen, I hope you have a great day, okay?
Okay, you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. Boom. All right. When you're thinking of
Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Carl Krenzel. When you're thinking about a brokerage, you got to remember, not everybody's going to be like you. And if they're out there screwing around and causing problems in the marketplace, that can cause problems for you indirectly. And it sucks if you go out there and you spend 4, 5, 6 years, because remember, you don't just up and move a real estate, company or a team every month or two. You don't do that. You go into one place and you stay there for years.
The Google subscriber you have called is not available. Please leave a message after.
And when you think about it, okay, if you're going to spend years at a place, anytime you move your business, you're going to lose about 10% of your business. That's just the way it works. Anytime you physically move your company or you physically change companies, you're going to lose about 10% of your business. And that's just because people don't know where you are anymore. They forget, even though you might have the same number, they lose track of you. It's the way it works. So it's not like you're going to be moving every 5, 6 months. You're going to be moving every 5, 6 years. And if you can imagine.
Hi, this is Mike.
Hi, Mike. Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Boy, I'm better than I deserve. Thank you. I'm not sure if I've got the right place. Did you have that place? I was looking for the owner of the house that was for rent on 4th. Is that your property?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, Julie's my partner. That's
Oh, okay.
why it was good, sir.
Okay, no problem. Is it still available, or did y'all rent it out, or?
It may be. I have a couple of applications I'm checking, but so it's not actually. I haven't signed any leases with anyone yet.
I understand. Okay, no problem. Well, the reason why I'm calling, I'm a broker here in town who also buys property. I was just calling to see if you folks had even considered selling that property instead of renting it. Have you?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That's a beautiful looking property right there.
Yep.
All right, no problem. Well, listen, Mike, do you happen to know of anybody else who's got an unwanted property that I could buy for cash?
Not that I know of. I'd probably buy it if I did.
That's my kind of man. So you buy fix-up type properties as well?
I do.
Do you buy them for cash, or do you
I
need to get a
hardly
loan?
hear you.
Oh, I apologize. Do you buy them with cash, or do you need to get a loan?
Usually cash.
Okay. Well, listen, Mike, do you buy here in town like the little Tucson properties primarily?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just around the university.
All right. Well, if you'd like, every now and again, I come across stuff like that I can't do anything with, that I don't want to buy or flip myself, but I certainly flip it out to other people. Would something like that, would you want me to pick up the phone and give you a call?
Sure, if you got one.
Okay, great. Will do. All right. Well, Mike, I appreciate you taking my call today, and I'll just make a note here that to give you a call the next time I get something that comes up in that university area that I don't want to deal with. Fair enough?
Okay.
All right, brother. Appreciate you. You have a great day, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. So let's make a note here. All right. Add a note. Buys. Now, here's the thing. Investment property near you. Okay. Now, to be honest with you, that's not really saying much. I mean, pretty much anybody would buy an investment property down by the university if they had the opportunity to. However, it's good to have somebody like this because you can build relationships. One of the things that people tend to forget is that this is a relationship business, and you really do want to spend some time, working with people and talking with them and trying to figure out what it is that they need so they can go ahead and, because as Zig Ziglar said, if you help people get what they want, then they'll help you get what you want. Question number 4. Questions you need to ask if you're a team leader trying to switch companies. Question number 4, can my team easily expand to new markets and states? Oh boy. If you're a successful real estate team leader, you'll want the option to expand beyond your local market to service your clients and leverage your team model. Make sure your brokerage supports your expansion in reality, not just in name. Getting sign-off from the local franchise owner to do business in a market is a headache you don't need. Look for a brokerage model that makes expansion as frictionless as possible. Now look, if you're in a team mindset and you're planning on building a team, I get it. I did it myself. I understand. However, there are some things you want to think about. When you're starting to expand, okay, and in this particular circumstance, expanding beyond your local market, whether it be your city or even into an adjacent state. Let's say, you're in Yuma, Arizona, and you want to practice in California as well as Arizona. Let's say you're in the Four Corners area.
Call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 3.
Let's say you're in the Four Corners area, and you want to be able to practice in Colorado, Arizona, Utah, New Mexico. You want to be able to do this without your broker getting into a lot of hassle. And if you're in a situation where you've got a brokerage that's a franchise, and let's say you want to open up an office in an adjacent town or an adjacent state or something along those lines, well, then you're going to have problems with franchises from the brokerage. And you don't want to deal with that, especially if you're trying to expand, because you're going to try to expand to a bigger area. Now, I recognize for most of you, this is probably not what you're planning on doing. But if you're planning on building a team in a large area, or particularly a multi-state area, then you're going to have to get this very clear with the people in your brokerage house. Make sure that they're on the same page as you are. Also, question number 5, what is my ownership stake? Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Oh, hi. My name's Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
I'm at work. What's this regarding?
Oh, I'll be super fast. I was calling about that property that was for rent over there on Venice. Is that your property? Is it still available?
Yes, it is. As far as I know at this moment, if you want to shoot me an email, I would need to look into that.
Oh, okay. No problem.
I had someone apply, but I'm not sure where it's at right now.
Okay.
Sorry
No.
for being curt.
Oh,
I thought you were a sales call.
No. That's no problem at all. Well, actually, I'm a broker who buys property. I was just calling to see if you'd ever considered selling that home. Have you?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Oh, I see.
Much.
So if I gave you cash, you wouldn't sell that property to me? Damn. All right. Boom. Okay. What's my ownership stake in the firm? Ooh, this is a big one. As I've said before, even though most real estate agents and teams are independent contractors, there's no reason not to be treated as true partners in the brokerage you help build. Stock and stock options are...
Well.
Oh, hi. My name's Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Oh, good.
I'm not sure if I have the right person. I was calling about the home, the little condo that was for rent over there on Snyder. Is this the owner?
Oh, yes, I'm the owner.
Is it still available or did you rent it out already?
Right now I'm in the process of accepting applications.
Okay.
And I will have one final viewing, at 4 p.m. today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know if that works for you.
No, that's fine.
But
Actually,
if that works for you, just go there,
okay.
take a look, and if you're interested, you can send an application.
Okay. Well,
I
actually,
will make a decision either tonight or tomorrow.
okay. No problem. Well, actually, the reason why I called is I was just calling to see if you'd considered selling that place instead of renting it. Have you?
Oh, I have, yes.
Okay. Well,
I have. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, no problem. Well, the reason why I'm asking is I'm a broker here in town who buys property, and I was calling because I saw it online, and I was interested. But I got 2 challenges. Can I share them with you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, the first challenge is that I need to pay all cash, and I don't imagine that's going to be a problem, right?
All cash.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem. That was a bit of a joke. That wouldn't be a problem, would it? Me paying?
No.
Okay. The second challenge is that I need to close within 30 days. Can you close that quick, or do you need more time?
I can definitely close that quick,
Okay.
but I mean, depending on the offer, right?
Of course, yes,
I know
of course.
renting market is increasing a lot than the selling market right now.
Yes.
So that's why I was debating between selling it and renting it.
Okay.
But I ended up going for because my current tenants are still, their contract are not ended yet.
Okay.
So their contract ends at the end of June. So I was thinking that's why I just trying to approach the renting market and see if I can rent it quickly. If I can, I'm gonna rent it probably. Well, again, depending on your offer.
Of course. No, that makes sense.
I definitely am thinking about selling it.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. And you said that I could stop by and see it around 4:00 today?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Why don't I do this? I'll just stop by and take a quick look. I imagine, is there going to be other people there? Will it be you, or how do I get in?
It'll be my mother-in-law showing the place.
Okay.
She's a realtor.
Oh, really? What's your mom's name? Maybe I know her.
Yeah. She's from HomeSmart. I don't know if you.
Yeah. What's her name? Maybe I know her. I'm over at Sotheby's myself, but what's her name?
Lee Fong.
Okay, great. No problem. Well, then I will.
She is. Well, usually I'm the one who's taking care of it, but I have something else going on today at 4 p.m., so I can't go. So she's doing me a favor, not as a realtor.
No, I understand.
I'm not going through her for the renting, but she is. She's just helping me out as a family member.
That's no problem.
And there will be other people viewing the property,
Okay.
I suppose.
No problem. Well, what I'll do is I'll stop by at 4:00. I'll take a very brief look at it. What's a good email that I should email an offer to? What's a good email for you? Correct. Oh, okay, cool. Then I'll just yeah. I mean, now just
Talk to her about those.
yeah, that's no problem.
The renting part, I'm not letting her getting involved.
Okay.
Just because she, she has her license and everything, like saying, I don't want to get her professional.
No, I understand.
Involved in the renting part.
I understand completely. That's no problem.
Is completely fine.
So then just I want to make it very clear when I buy property, as I mentioned, I'm an agent myself. I'm not trying to be offensive. Don't misunderstand me, but I don't pay other realtors commissions and stuff. When I buy a property, I just buy it exactly the way it is. No commissions. I pay all your closing costs. I mean, if your mom wants to get a commission or whatever, I mean, y'all have to work that out.
The seller paying the realtors anyway, so okay. I'll cover my.
Okay, good. As long as we were clear on that. So okay, cool. Well, then I will look forward to coming out there and taking it.
But there is one thing though. So this is my parents' property. Are you buying it for investment or because so they're foreigners, see, and if they sell properties, they have to sell to people who agree to live in there as a primary residence in order to not pay the FERPA. Okay, so they're concerned about FERPA and they need to pay they need to sell to an owner occupant to avoid paying the FERPA tax. Is that what I'm hearing you say? Yes. Okay. Exactly. All right. So if you can't sign that thing, then there's probably no reason to look at it because I mean it's gonna be more than like 10, 20K. Oh yeah, it's a pretty considerable amount of money there. Yeah. All right. Well then exactly. Okay, and so what I'm hearing you say, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not 100% certain on this myself, but what I'm hearing you say is your understanding of the current FERPA law is that if it's sold to a investor, then your parents are going to have to pay the tax. But if it's sold to a owner, a primary resident, then they will not have to pay the tax. That's your understanding of it. Is that correct? That was my understanding. Okay. Well, they might still have to pay other tax, but not the for the whatever, that part. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, let me do this. Let me check into it myself because that's a new one to me. I honestly have not heard that there was a distinguishment. I thought they had to pay the tax regardless of who they sold it to, but I might be incorrect. Yeah, I think there's a extra part of the tax that they need to pay if they sell it to a renter or whatever. I only encountered this because I bought this property from a Mexican people. Okay. And that's what they said. That's what they had to deal with. Okay, well, so I'll check. I had to stay or not rent for 2 years. Okay. Then, like after 2 years, you're free to rent, but within the first 2 years, I think they asked you not to rent or whatever. I understand. Okay. Well, then let me check into that with my title people, and then if that's the case, then I may or may not show up. But if it's not the case, and that's not going to be an issue for me, then we'll figure it out. Okay. We'll play it by ear. Sure. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking my call today. Okay. Mm-hmm. Have a great day. Call too. Talk to you soon. All right. You too. Bye-bye. Bye. Okay. Oops. Let's see. Now, I will admit, I'm not 100% sure on that particular law, but it does bring up something I think that we need to be aware of. Over $30 million worth of real estate was purchased last year in the United States by Chinese investors. And what I mean by this is that the last lady I was talking to right there, she mentioned that her parents own the property and that they're Chinese and that they may have to pay. Hello?
Hi there. This is Carl Krenzel. How are you today?
Ask what this is regarding?
Yes, sir. I was calling about that house that was for rent on Via Sara del Sol. Is that still available, or did y'all rent that out already?
It's still available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. My name is Carl, by the way. The reason why I was just calling to see if you folks had considered selling that property as opposed to renting it. Have you?
I don't have the time for this. Thank you, Carl. Take care.
You don't have money? You don't have time for money? Oh, man, you're going to get a call back faux show. You are definitely going to get a call back. See, this is what I don't understand. Somebody says they want to buy the property, and you don't have time to talk to them. That makes 0.0 sense to me. Yeah, $30 billion were purchased by Chinese investors in 2018 in the United States. And what she was referring to is the Foreign Investment Recapture Tax Act that they had.
Hi, you've reached Rainbow Wheeling. Please leave me a message and I'll be sure to get back to you.
All right,
Thanks so much, and you have a great day. At the tone, please record your message. When you finish.
Hang up, and I'm not interested in her because she's an agent. I know her. Yeah, the foreign investment tax that people will have to pay. Now, I'm honest. I don't know that if it's paid to an investor versus an owner occupant, that makes a difference in a Chinese person's tax. I don't think it does. I'll ask my escrow people. I'm going to talk to them today, and I don't think that's the case, but we'll see. If it is, well, it's interesting to know. But this is interesting for you to know because Chinese investors. Oh, you know what? I think I have the wrong number. I was looking for Frank. Sorry. Have a great day. Thanks. All right. This number was out in Saurita. All right. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and take a break here for a minute. We've been on the phone for a while. I'm going to go ahead and take a break so I can go to the restroom, and I will see you soon. Talk to you soon.